The actions depicted in this audiobook are completely fiction and is not based on actual historic events. Strictly for entertainment purposes. Instead of taking Elliot to another village, he instead led him to a group of nomads who just set up camp for the night coming in. They had an interest in traveling the world like Elliot. If Elliot was in his right mind, he could have sought out a form of camaraderie with the nomads, building an alliance with them. Instead, he was envious of the nomads, for they were more experienced expeditionists. When he first approached their camp, they welcomed him with open arms, even building him a warm tent with their best supplies to satisfy his request for comfort. As he became more settled in, he was invited to conversation at supper around the campfire. Tales of the nomads' journeys became the focal point of conversation. It was here when Elliot became jealous and envious of them, realizing that he was the inferior expeditionist. The nomads showed him paintings of all the terrains that they visited and told him how they constructed a ship to travel across the seas. Elliot presented a face of gratitude as the nomads shared the tales of their travels. But inside, the only feeling he could manifest was intense anger rooted in jealousy toward the nomadic people. This was the result of Iram's wrathful energy becoming so powerful, causing Elliot to slowly surrender his body. Elliot removed himself from the conversation of supper in an attempt to conceal his anger toward the group. He sat alone in his tent, contemplating why this feeling of anger was bottled inside him. He questioned himself for several minutes. Finding no significant answer to where it came from, he looked to Iram for answers. "I have always enjoyed the art of travel, why does it seem like every path I walk leads to the feeling of anger?" Elliot asked Iram. "I knew not of your troubles. But if you wish to be relieved of this peak emotion, I'd be delighted to provide a remedy." Iram deceitfully replied. Elliot accepted. Iram instructed him to simply go to sleep, and when he woke, he'd be detached from his anger. As Elliot climbed into bed, one of the nomadic women checked in on him, questioning him of his early departure from supper's campfire. Elliot responded with a lie, telling her that he only left because he grew tired, and he was in need of sleep. And not that he actually wanted to conceal his anger. The woman wished him a good night's rest as she departed from his tent. Elliot laid down and drifted into sleep. While Elliot was in slumber, Iram was doing the work of the wicked, harnessing all of his demonic energy, preparing to exert it on the remaining half of Elliot's soul. He required a full moon at its peak to fully complete this ritual. So he waited until midnight. Once midnight came and the moon rose to its brightest point, Iram released the manifested energy to devour what was still pure in Elliot's soul. Once the ritual was complete, it caused a massive shift in Elliot's body, causing him to wake, realizing that his movements were not of his own will, and his emotions existed no more. Not only did Iram rid him of his anger, but the feelings of happiness, sadness and all other emotions related to humanity. Elliot became a literal shell of himself, existing only to spectate from his own point of view, an ill-willed entity manipulating his tongue, thoughts, and own bodily movements. With Iram in full control of Elliot's body, he finally got the chance to spread his wrath upon humanity. He sought out death. So he grabbed the machete Elliot used for hunting, and crept into each individual's tent as they slept and took their lives by the stroke of his blade, leaving no man to spare. His clothes stained with the blood of the nomads, and he reeked with the scent of death. And he felt delighted by acting upon his lust for bloodshed, thus marking the beginning of his vicious wrath, and the first of many mass slaughters.